Welcome to the People Power Challenge Energy Efficiency webinar. By participating in this webinar, you are demonstrating that you are up to the challenge and ready to take on energy conservation projects at home and at work. Thank you for being a sustainability champion. While market prices of energy and operational cost reductions are important considerations, environmental impacts are also of concern. According to Environment Canada, electricity generation produces a large share of Canadian nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxide emissions, which contribute to smog and acid rain and the formation of fine particulate matter. As well, electricity generation is the largest uncontrolled industrial source of mercury emissions in Canada. Mercury emissions can impact water quality and be transformed into methylmercury, which has implications for aquatic and human health. The generation and consumption of energy also produces greenhouse gas or GHG emissions that contribute to climate change. Burning fossil fuels releases the carbon that was trapped by coal, oil, and natural gas. The carbon is transformed into carbon dioxide, or CO2, the predominant gas contributing to the greenhouse effect, during the combustion process. Simply stated, climate change is the change in average weather over time and over a region. Climate change includes changes in temperature, wind patterns, and precipitation. Effects of global climate change include, but are not limited to, increased droughts in some areas and floods in other areas. This can lead to bad crops and famine, and wars over limited water and food resources. Increased extreme weather events, including tropical cyclones, tsunamis, and others. Decreases in snow cover and sea ice, contributing to sea levels rising, reduced water availability, and loss of biodiversity. More frequent and intense heat waves. This can damage crops, increasing stress on food availability and pose risks to human health. And widespread ocean acidification, damaging the marine biosphere and resulting in loss of biodiversity. Electricity generation has significant impacts on water quality, habitat, and species. While solar, geothermal, biomass, landfill gas, and wind generally have limited impact on water resources and species, natural gas, coal, oil, nuclear, and hydroelectricity have more severe implications for resource use and biodiversity. Many of these generation processes require major water inputs, such as cooling systems, steam production, oil refining, drilling, and removing impurities from coal. When coal, oil, and nuclear energy generation processes remove water from a lake or river, fish and other aquatic life can be killed, which affects those animals and people who depend on these aquatic resources. Hydropower often requires the use of dams, which can greatly affect the flow of rivers, altering ecosystems and affecting the wildlife and people who depend on those waters. Often, water at the bottom of the lake created by a dam is inhospitable to fish because it is much colder and oxygen poor compared with water at the top. When this colder, oxygen-poor water is released into the river, it can kill fish living downstream that are accustomed to warmer, oxygen-rich water. In addition, some dams withhold water and then release it all at once, causing the river downstream to suddenly flood. This action can disrupt plant and wildlife habitats and affect drinking water supplies. Some forms of electricity generation involve the discharge of water into lakes and streams. These water discharges can contain pollutants such as arsenic, lead, and salts. These discharges are also generally hotter than the current temperature in the body of water, and this harms fish and plants. Drilling can also cause underground water supplies to become contaminated, and runoff from the extraction process can affect surface waters. During the transportation of sources like oil, spills can occur, damaging water quality and harming marine life and birds in oceans and coastal waterways. Some electricity generation technologies, such as coal, oil, and nuclear energy, result in the creation of solid waste. In some cases, this waste is disposed of in landfills. In other cases, this waste may contain toxic and hazardous elements that require special handling, treatment, and disposal. Coal creates ash, which is generally disposed of in landfills, although some amounts are now being recycled into useful products, such as cement and building materials. Oil refining produces wastewater sludge and other solid waste that can contain high levels of metal and toxic compounds. Also, when oil is burned at power plants, residues that are not completely burned off can accumulate, forming another source of solid waste that must be disposed of. Every 18 to 24 months, nuclear power plants must shut down to remove and replace spent uranium fuel. This spent fuel has released most of its energy as a result of the fission process and has become radioactive waste. According to the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, Canada has been generating electricity from nuclear power for more than 40 years. In that time, just over 2 million used fuel bundles have been produced. Each fuel bundle is about the size and shape of a fireplace log, weighing approximately 24 kilograms. Currently, radioactive waste is generally stored at the nuclear plants at which it is generated, either in steel-lined concrete vaults filled with water, or in above-ground steel or steel-reinforced concrete containers with steel inner canisters. In addition to the fuel waste, much of the equipment in the nuclear power plants becomes contaminated with radiation and will become radioactive waste after the plant is closed. Canada is working towards developing a central storage facility for nuclear waste, but this is a source of great controversy. Viable long-term storage solutions have yet to be found due to the extremely long time period required for the radioactivity to decrease, on the order of tens of thousands of years. One proposed long-term solution relies on burying the waste deep underground in copper or steel containers. This is extremely expensive and environmentally invasive. The extraction of energy and construction of power plants can destroy natural habitat for animals and plants. Soil at some power plant sites can become contaminated with various pollutants and take a long time to recover, even after the power plant closes down. The construction of hydropower plants can alter sizable portions of land when dams are constructed and lakes are created, flooding land that may have once served as wildlife habitat, farmland, or scenic retreats. Hydroelectric dams can cause erosions along the riverbed, upstream and downstream, which can further disturb wildlife ecosystems and fish populations. With more and more homes and businesses coming online every year, more power plants are required to meet demand. When you consider all of the potential effects of energy extraction and construction of energy facilities, and the fact that conservation and efficiency measures can help reduce the need for new plants, energy efficiency becomes even more attractive. So most current forms of energy extraction, coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear, and hydroelectricity, have significant impacts on the environment. These impacts include air emissions, climate change, water quality and aquatic life, solid waste generation, and land resource use. But why should business care? Some of this goes back to the beginning of this webinar when we spoke of economic considerations. Energy is not a fixed cost, and there are many simple things you can do that will immediately save you money and thicken up that bottom line. Most businesses are buying way more energy than they need to run their operations and produce their products. Why pay for what you don't need, especially in a world of rising energy costs? Energy management is also a component of risk management. Streamlining operational efficiencies through energy reduction and conservation measures protects your business against rising energy costs in the future, ensuring you remain competitive. Reducing your environmental impact through energy management may have benefits to the bottom line beyond smaller utility bills. Studies have shown that businesses with strong environmental policies have higher rates of employee engagement and employee retention, thus reducing recruitment and training costs and increasing productivity. Not to mention increased market share. Environmental policies, and in particular greenhouse gas management and carbon neutrality, can serve as important differentiators in a crowded marketplace, especially when targeted consumers are particularly environmentally aware. Consumers are increasingly interested in learning about what brands do for the environment. Studies have shown that the value of a company is 70% brand and reputation and 30% concrete assets. Thus, ensuring your company has a positive reputation is important to its long-term success. While currently regulations in Canada for emissions are limited, trends indicate future regulations are coming down the pipe. There are a few potential systems that may come into play, one of which is cap and trade. In its simplest form, cap and trade is a market-based system where the government puts a cap on the total amount of pollution industry is allowed to emit. Each company would receive permits for how much pollution it could produce. If a company produced less than its limit, it could sell or trade permits to other companies that have gone over their limit. Industries that invest in cleaner technologies will be rewarded by being able to trade carbon credits with those who emit more than what is permitted. Quebec was the first Canadian province to implement such a system on January 1st, 2012. There are other possible systems which may be implemented, such as a carbon tax. This is a tax on fossil fuels, especially those used by motor vehicles, intended to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. The idea here is that a carbon tax captures the negative externalities, which in this case include environmental and human health damage, of certain forms of energy generation, and discourages the use of those dirty energy sources. Regardless of what system is eventually put in place, it is safe to say that one is coming. Early adopters will be better positioned to adapt to the new regulatory climate, and will also reap the benefits in the market. There is a limited time to gain competitive advantage from implementing energy conservation policies and measures, as soon everyone will be required to do so. Considering all of the environmental implications I spoke about earlier, air emissions, climate change, water resource use, water discharges, solid waste generation, and land resource use, it seems almost redundant to speak about why businesses should care about reducing energy use from an environmental perspective. All of these impacts affect human well-being through health, access to clean resources, and a healthy planet. These impacts affect businesses too. Air emissions, through impacting employee health, can have repercussions for productivity. Climate change and extreme weather events can have significant impacts on businesses, ranging from retailers who lose sales of cold weather items due to rises in temperatures, to resource extraction in certain parts of the world becoming more expensive due to weather variability. As we all rely on water, impacts on water resource use and water discharges can impact production processes and employee water use. And competition for land resource use could affect the expansion of your business, impacting where you can locate. Something that sometimes gets forgotten in these discussions is the inherent value in protecting and enhancing our shared environment, both for ourselves and for those to come. The choice is between living in a polluted world dealing with the impacts of climate change and changing a few behaviors and energy sources to live in a world with clean water and green space. Which world are you choosing? We have gone through the effects of reliance on polluting energy sources and the impacts this has on businesses. Fortunately, there are many opportunities to reduce energy consumption, along with opportunities to generate clean, renewable energy at the site level. First, get an overall picture of energy use at your facility. Understand where it is happening, what processes and equipment are using it, and where it is being wasted by undergoing an energy audit. By completing a review of energy consumption in a facility, companies can identify easy cost reductions from energy savings. Companies who save the most energy tend to be companies with the best operational management practices. By building an energy management plan that links responsibilities and maintenance schedules and has senior leadership sign-off, companies can lay the foundation for continuous improvement in their energy performance. Some of the bigger energy target areas and ways you can reduce their impact are lighting. Conducting a lighting retrofit to replace existing lamps, ballasts, and fixtures from HID or T12s to more energy-efficient T8 and T5 fixtures can reduce a company's electrical bill for lighting by as much as 30%. Using infrared or acoustic technology, installation of occupancy sensors can potentially save a company an additional 30 to 50% of electrical lighting costs for the areas they are installed. Timers allow easy control of a company's lighting schedule. In conjunction with occupancy sensors, timers can potentially reduce a company's electrical lighting costs by a further 5 to 10% for the areas they are installed. HVAC. By installing programmable thermostats and applying setbacks of just 6 degrees on weekends and evenings, a savings of 5 to 15% of your winter heating costs can be realized. The same savings can be obtained in the summer with an increase of only 3 degrees. Setting your thermostat step points to control and maintain a reasonable temperature can not only improve the efficiency of the system, but can also reduce heating and cooling costs. By changing set points by just 2 degrees, a 5% savings can be realized. Make sure your HVAC units are right-sized. Ensuring that there is adequate heating and cooling is essential when dealing with energy efficiency. Competing units or having under or oversized units will not only impact employee comfort, but will require the system to operate more than it should. Examine opportunities for waste heat recovery in your facility. Why waste it when it can be used in another process? Airside economizers can save energy by using cool outside air as a means of cooling the indoor space. By mixing cool outside air with the recirculated inside air, the system does not need to work as hard to reach the desired set point. This is also known as free cooling. Power factor. A better understanding of your organization's power factor and how it can be managed to reduce costs will help reduce your energy consumption. Implementation of a motor management system can improve the system performance and availability while reducing overall repair costs, energy consumption, and production costs. A capacitor bank will improve power factor and reduce harmonic distortion by supplying capacitive reactive power as opposed to drawing directly from the grid. Building envelope. Everything from weather stripping, windows, doors, insulation, walls, roofs, and window film should be examined to eliminate heating and cooling loss and improve the efficiency of your building. Heaters. High-efficiency boilers can significantly impact energy consumption, and radiant heaters are 10 to 15% more efficient than traditional forced air natural gas heaters. Further savings can be realized by having a lower ambient temperature. Radiant heaters heat solid objects and surfaces as opposed to the air. Renewable power. Geothermal, also known as ground source heat pump systems, are the most efficient, environmentally friendly, and cost-effective space conditioning systems available. By using the constant temperature of the ground, a building can both heat and cool itself using a geothermal system. Rooftop solar is a very appealing option. With the Ontario Feed-in Tariff program, payback times on rooftop solar are highly attractive. Visit fit.powerauthority.on.ca for more information and application packages. While reduction of energy use and transition to renewable energy sources is the ultimate goal, many companies use Bullfrog Power as a tool to get there. When you choose Bullfrog Power, Bullfrog's generators inject 100% green electricity or 100% green natural gas onto the respective energy system to match the amount of electricity or natural gas your home or business uses. Businesses can join the Green Power Challenge, which is an exciting program that challenges organizations within the Pearson Eco Business Zone to achieve a collective goal of sourcing 100,000 megawatt-hours of electricity from renewable sources. For more information, visit www.partnersinprojectgreen.com. There are many things you can do individually to help your company achieve reductions in energy consumption. Join your green team, or start one if there isn't one already. Be an energy champion by identifying site-specific issues and working to rectify them. Submit your conservation ideas to your green team, facilities department, or energy champion. Shut down computers, lights, and other energy-consuming equipment when not in use. Share your knowledge with your friends and colleagues. And lead by example and make sure you are reducing energy wherever possible. There are many things you can do at home to reduce your energy consumption, and the benefits will be the same at home as at the office. You will pay less every month, and you will be protected against rising energy costs. But even more so, you will be contributing to a healthier planet for yourself and all those who come after. This saving the environment gig is a big job, one that will only be accomplished if everyone does their part. Your actions matter. You can insulate your walls and ceilings. This can save 20 to 30% on home heating bills and reduce CO2 emissions by 65 to 950 kilograms per year. As Ontario is a colder climate, consider super insulating. That can save 5 tons of CO2 per year for gas-heated homes, 8 tons per year for oil heat, or 21 tons per year for electric heat. Modernize your windows. Replacing all your ordinary windows with argon-filled, double-glazed windows saves 2.2 tons of CO2 per year for homes with gas heat, 3.5 tons for oil heat, and 9 tons for electric heat. Plant shade trees and paint your house a light color if you live in a warm climate, or a dark color if you live in a cold climate. Reductions in energy use resulting from shade trees and appropriate painting can save up to 2.2 tons of CO2 emissions per year. Each tree also directly absorbs about 11 kilograms of CO2 from the air annually. Weatherize your home or apartment using caulk and weather stripping to plug air leaks around doors and windows. Caulking costs less than $1 per window, and weather stripping is under $10 per door. These steps can save up to 500 kilograms of CO2 per year for a typical home. Ask your utility company for a home energy audit to find out where your home is poorly insulated or energy inefficient. Turn your refrigerator down. Refrigerators account for about 20% of household electricity use. Use a thermometer to set your refrigerator temperature to as close to 3 degrees and your freezer to as close to minus 16 degrees as possible. Make sure that its energy saver switch is turned on. Also, check the gaskets around your refrigerator and freezer doors to make sure they are clean and sealed tightly. Set your washing machine to its cold water setting. When you use cold water to wash, you just use energy to run the machine, without using any energy to heat the water. Make sure your dishwasher is full when you run it, and use the energy saving setting, if available, to allow the dishes to air dry. You can also turn off the drying cycle manually. Not using heat in the drying cycle can save 20% of your dishwasher's total electricity use. Turn down your water heater thermostat. Thermostats are often set to 60 degrees Celsius when 48 to 50 is usually fine. Each 5-degree reduction saves 272 kilograms of CO2 per year for an electric water heater, or 200 kilograms for a gas heater. Select the most energy-efficient models when you replace your old appliances. Look for the Energy Star label. This is your assurance that the product saves energy and prevents pollution. Buy the product that is sized to your typical needs, not the biggest one available. Be careful not to overheat or overcool rooms. In the winter, set your thermostat at 20 degrees in the daytime and 15 degrees at night. In the summer, keep it at 25. Lowering your thermostat just 5 degrees during the winter saves 6% of heating-related CO2 emissions. That's a reduction of 190 kilograms of CO2 per year for a typical home. Clean or replace air filters as recommended. Energy is lost when air conditioners and hot air furnaces have to work harder to draw air through dirty filters. Cleaning a dirty air conditioner filter can save 5% of the energy used. That could save 80 kilograms of CO2 per year. Wrap your water heater in an insulating jacket, which costs just $10 to $20. It can save 500 kilograms of CO2 per year for an electric water heater, or 100 kilograms for a gas heater. Use less hot water by installing low-flow shower heads. They cost just $10 to $20 each, deliver an invigorating shower, and save 135 kilograms of CO2 per year for electrically heated water, or 36 kilograms for gas-heated water. Whenever possible, walk, bike, carpool, or use mass transit. Every liter of gasoline you save avoids 2.3 kilograms of CO2 emissions. Not to mention you save the expense of paying at the ever-rising gas pump. Reduce the amount of waste you produce by buying minimally packaged goods, choosing reusable products over disposable ones, and recycling. Making products with recycled materials instead of from scratch with raw materials uses 30 to 55% less energy for paper products, 33% less energy for glass, and a whopping 90% less energy for aluminum. There are many things you can do to reduce your energy footprint, both at home and at the office, and a quick Google search will identify even more than I have spoken about here today. The bottom line is that energy conservation is an easy win for businesses and for the planet. We have the technologies and the knowledge to run our companies and our homes at the same level of performance with much less energy. Awareness is key. Now that you know what the problem is and how you can help, it is your responsibility to reduce energy consumption, for yourself and for the planet. Thank you for taking the time to get informed. There are many resources to help you in your energy reduction journey, starting with Partners in Project Green. Visit our website for case studies, our financial assistance database, and information on our many energy-focused programs at www.partnersinprojectgreen.com. Contact your local utility to learn about their many incentive programs to help reduce project payback times. Check out the Clean Air Alliance at www.cleanairalliance.org for great publications and information on the state of Ontario energy. Join Smart Commute to provide your staff with carpooling options, a better way to get to work that saves emissions. Check them out at www.smartcommute.ca. Get involved with the World Wildlife Fund's Earth Hour and Sweater Day campaigns to raise awareness at home and at the office. You can get more information at www.wwf.ca.